Well, hello, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. God bless you. I'm Apostle Hellena Horsley, and this is Thursday Night Live at 9. And here we are on 40 marriages that must not hold. We're going to see who can get in here, but in the meantime, I'm going to keep on rolling in and rolling out. We have been in this series for quite some time now. And in this series, we have looked at 40 marriages that must not hold. Now, again, in this series, this is about um, experiences from others. It is in a book and it is written by Dr. D.K. Olukoya. And if I were to show you some of the passages within the book, you will see that they're very short blurbs. And what we're getting here on this time is just deeper revelation concerning these particular topics. So this is 40 marriages that must not hold. Hey, Dr. Deanna, God bless you. God bless you. Good to see you there on the YouTube. Amen. So there are 40 marriages that must not hold. And we've been in this discussion for quite some time. And so, like I said, we have dealt with the fast food marriage, the serpent in the pocket marriage. Hey, Yellow Beauty, God bless you. Red Cross Society, thus said the devil, witchcraft marriage, syringe marriage, maximum prison, half a loaf marriage, laboratory marriage, diabetes marriage, Angelina to deviling the marriage, kindergarten marriage, dark marriage, marriage of the stranger, and wipers of tears marriage, the bewitched marriage, the baby marriage, emergency marriage, and tonight we're going to deal with the distant marriage. Distant marriage. This is number 19. And I want to start off with just reading it from the book. It said, God bless you, Cousin Paula. Says, God does not want any of his children to make mistakes. Many people are ready to please themselves at the expense of pleasing God. A lot of people live in Europe and America while their parents pick up a spouse for them in Africa. Listen to this. The distant couple may live apart for the next 20 years. The husband may not want to come home for the fear of losing his resident status, while the wife may spend the many years of grappling with being denied an entry visa. At other times, a wife may be secured for someone who lives abroad, and the wife may be posted to the husband without any form of prior interaction or relationship with him. And then this is his witnessing. He said, I witnessed such an occasion when I was studying in the United Kingdom. A fellow student requested me to accompany him to the airport. I did not know what he was up to until I discovered that he was clutching a photograph in a desperate bid to match the face in the picture with those coming out of the arrival hall. I was so amused that I had to tell my friend to explain to me what was going on. Of course, the posted wife arrived and they started living together. Unfortunately for my friend, his spouse soon enveloped with a German. Such is the ordeal in a distant marriage. It is a marriage that should not take place. God bless you, daughter. This is talking about distant marriages. Marvin Gaye had a song called Distant Lover. Distant Lover. Um, different people, a lot of people are really tired. God bless you, JC 1857. Many people are tired of dating common people in their own state, in their own town, in their own city, or just people that they've been knowing for quite some time. Because you have people that come in and out of your life, and because you have people who come in and out of your life, and they figure, hey, since you're single and I'm single, why don't we just try looking into one another? And sometimes that works, and many times it doesn't, because you already know who the person is. And with you knowing who that person is, that person may draw you to a negative because you already kind of know who they are. But in any case, 40 marriages that must not hold. We're talking about a distant marriage. These are people, God bless you, Sister Cynthia. In this book, you have people who are coming from different countries, meeting one another. And once they do, they get a visa. When I was in jury duty, this man that was in the jury duty with me a couple of weeks ago, he was saying he had just married his bride. And he said his bride had come in, and she's from a foreign country. She had just come in. He was afraid because here we were at jury duty, and he was saying she doesn't speak any English. She doesn't speak any English, doesn't know how to get around, doesn't know how to do anything. So there he was. He had just recently retired from his job as well. But there he was in the courts, waiting to see if he was going to be seen or not. He did not want to have to do jury duty because he had just married this person, and she had just got to his home. And again, she's new to the country. So he did not want to be there in jury duty long because in fear of the new wife. God bless you, Latanya. So there are a lot of people who have brides or they marry from across countries. Some people just do it for the sake of, being able to have entry into your country that of which you live. And I want to talk a little bit tonight, and I'm not going to be long on here, I don't believe. But there are a lot of people who make the mistakes of going to these online dating apps. I'm going to say that again. Many people have made the mistake of going through various online dating apps. You don't know who these people are. You don't have a reference for who they are. You're going to an app and they're matching people. They're matching you according to your preferences, your hobbies, and so forth. I remember a person who had met someone online, and this person was so excited because she was saying they were going to get married, and this person was in Nigeria. But in any case, she was exchanging funds. She was on the phone with the person like most of the day, most of the night. She was communicating with them. She was asking them for pictures, and they would send them pictures, of course, of the person and their daughter, person and their son. And she was actually sending money. And every time she would get close to them coming to meet her, there was always an instance that took place in their country, or there was always something that happened at the airport. They were short of finances and they needed some money and so forth. They never even met the person. So, of course, concerned family members, concerned friends had contacted the FBI, contacted different police officers, were doing their own investigating of the person who she had contacted and had been online sending money to. And, I'm not sure what happened at the end, but I believe at the last parts, the person was still confused, and they were really upset at the family member and those who had gotten themselves involved, because in their heart and mind they were talking to a real person, and they had a bond with words. They had a bond, and she believed that she was talking to them. She believed that they were sharing information, and the person was praying for them and they were praying for her. But like I said, concerned family members begin to contact the FBI. They begin to fight for their loved one because they knew that they didn't want her being taken advantage of. And this is why, it's very, very, very important for us to realize that some people, they do desperate things, desperate measures. They take desperate measures because they're desperate in their situations. They feel like they don't have any more time. And what they want to do is get the first person that will grab their attention. So you find them on the dating apps, and they've gone on several. And for some reason in the church world, this is becoming more and more popular. According to the Pew Research, it said a majority of online daters say they found at least somewhat easy to come across others on dating sites or apps that they were physically attracted to or shared their interests. Online dating users, 42% found it negative, 57% found it positive. They were physically attracted. 29% said it was difficult. 71% said it was easy. Shared their hobbies and interests. 35% said it was difficult. 64% said it was easy. It says seemed like someone they wanted to meet in person. 36% said it was difficult. 64% said it was easy. We're looking for the same kind of relationship. 38% said it was difficult. 61% said it was easy. Now, look, with the growing number of people meeting each other on these websites, it says men who have online dated in the past 5 years are more likely than women to say they didn't get enough messages. Among those who have used online dating sites or apps in the past 5 years, percentage who say they received. So 17% says of online dating users, they said they received too many messages. Men, 6% said too many messages. 30% of women said too many messages. Just about the right amount of messages. The total online dating users, 40%. Men, 36%. Women, 45%. Not enough messages. Total online users, says online dating users, 43%. 57% men, 24% women. There's so many. Again, this is a pewresearch.org internet. This is dating. This was I guess the one that's most recent is the one I pulled up, and that was from 2020. But it says a majority of online dating is very common for users to lie to appear more desirable. It says people lying about themselves to appear more desirable. 71% said that. People setting up fake accounts in order to scam others, 50% said that. People receiving sexually explicit messages or images they didn't ask for, 48% said that. People being harassed or bullied, 25% said that. Privacy violations such as data breaches or identity theft, 18% have said that. So there are a lot of statistics here online showing how it is on the apps. Younger women who have used dating sites or apps are especially likely to report having negative interactions with others on these platforms. And so there's online dating users, there's age brackets and so forth. But this is where we are today. With internet being the way it is, and people are interested because you're seeing lots of things on Facebook and Instagram. People are connecting in some way or the other. And for some reason, people are not they don't have a sense of knowing that this is not a real world. Okay, this is not a real world. People can make up their own world. People can make up their own world. They don't have to be who they say they are. So going back to the person that had a Nigerian contact and the family had to rescue her out of that, I just know that that person was very upset. She was very upset because they were getting in her business. I don't remember what happened at the end of that whole case, but I do remember they were very upset because they really felt like they loved the person. That's right, Paula. Oh my God, right? They really felt like they were in love with the person. There is another person I could say. Um, there is someone, other people who have been on these online dating apps, and they're not only online, they've been talking to them now on the phone, giving their real phone numbers, giving their real information, everything. And every time the person got ready to come and meet them, something always happened. Now this is a male now getting information, and it says she's coming from Nigeria, Africa, and so they're looking up something. Every time they say they got to the airport, oh, I need $6,000 because they said that I can't go to America unless I had money in the account. I said that don't even make sense. So they would send them this big money, right? But the person will never show up. But they said, oh, they sent them a couple of gifts here and there, but the person never showed up. They never saw them in person, but they will tell you to your face, tell you straight on, they are real. Nobody can tell me anything. So once they get to these levels, the deceived and the deceiver themselves are deceived. Once they get to these levels, nobody can help them but God. Okay? Nobody. It's like, please talk to people. Please talk to your family. Please talk to folks, because there are a lot of situations as well where they go on the blind dates, and there's violence that takes place on the blind dates and so forth. Please talk to your. It's like this. Let your family know what's happening with you. Dangers of dating, online dating. There are so many people who have been attacked. There's a lot of folks that are on Megan's Law that are on these sites because they figure they can't find a way to get to regular people. So they have a good time going on the sites, but they are people that are on the Megan's Law, where they are identified as sexual predators, but they're on these sites as well. The dangers, you're opening up this person to your family, anybody that you want them up, not only to you, but you're opening them up to your family, to your community of people. You're opening them up. You're opening yourself up, your family, your children, your nieces, your mothers. You're opening yourself up to these people and you don't even know them. It's good to have a reference. If you don't have a reference, then how do you even know who you're dealing with and who you're talking to? There's so many frauds, so many things that are happening. And yes, many people have said, "Oh, we got married and love at first sight," and this is who they decided to marry. All right. I don't know what those stories are because I don't think I've ever met anybody who actually married somebody that was on a dating website. I don't even know such of a person. Okay. If you are somebody who actually had a successful marriage, I would love to interview you. I would love to interview you. I would love to see how that happened. Not to encourage other people, but I want to hear the truth of how these things have happened. Because today in this age, again, we're dealing with technology. You don't know who people are. And you really need to be able to pray. Number one, pray, seek the face of God, get in the word, and let these things, let the Lord send who he's going to send to you as you walk in agreement with, okay, Lord, if that's the person, okay, because you do have to have the agreement. All right. Most of the time, these things are referenced, or most of the time, you're going somewhere, you're meeting someone, but you're always trying to check them out. Who are they? You need somebody to help you do the research. Who are they? Where do they come from? What's their background? You don't even know. You had some people who are married to other people and they have a whole alias. So they're spending time with you and they're over there with somebody else. They have a whole family in another state, but they come out here. You see, there are a lot of men who even marry, not just men, there's women. People marry um multiple marriages and you don't even know that they're married. You think that it's just you saying I do. But there's multiple people being married and you have no idea until later on when you find something else about them. Right. That's right, Allison. Right. You have no idea. They're already married. And I want to stress this. Married, if you're married, if you're separate, you're still married. Married, you're either married or you are single or you're widowed. Widowed, you were in a marriage, the person died. Okay? So you can say that you're a widow. But married, you actually went and had a ceremony done. It's written down in law. You are actually married. You had eyewitness accounts that you are married. All right? There's a certificate on file for you. Okay? So, married. We're talking about being married. You're either married or you are not. Separation, you're still married. Legal separation, you're still married. You're still married until the judge has to sign off on your divorce. And they have to approve that. It's a whole process. So nobody can just say, "Oh, I think they divorced me." There's a whole process for a divorce. But if you're married, you're still married. You're married and you're separated, you're still married. You can't go meeting other people while you're still married. Okay? So even if you are divorced, you have to now know who you are now. You have to find out who you have become. Because when you are married, your identity and your whole life changes and shifts with the person that you're married to. Everything about you was connected to the person that you were married to. And so your identity many a times are lost within the marriage because you conformed yourself to the marriage partner, and you conformed yourself to that person that you are married to, and you forgot all about yourself, which is most of the time why divorces take place anyway, because you lose your whole identity. They married somebody who they love. They married somebody who they wanted to be with, but then later on you started changing and you started changing to somebody that you were not. You were a very strong person. I watched something today and it was kind of sad. But and I almost posted it, but it was really too sad to even kind of post. But this man was talking in poetic form, and he was talking about himself, and he was a narcissist. And the painful words that he spoke in his poem, his stand-up poetry, the words he said was so painful. I said, I don't even think I want to put something like that out because this man knew he was using somebody. This man knew he was changing their identity. This man knew that he plowed upon them where they are no longer themselves. He switched them off, and as minute they became somebody else and he destroyed them, that's when he knew it was time to go. And here he was in this poem speaking about how bad he turned them to be who they are. And now look at them. He walked away with them being destroyed because they were not the same person that he met. So sometimes life is a game for some people. You need to know that life is a game, and all they want to do is see who they can damage, who they can destroy. Because remember, the thief cometh not but for to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Christ comes that we may have life, and that we would have that more abundantly, which is why it's more important for us to get into the word. Be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Know who God is for yourself. People can be so real, so real to you, and you don't even understand how they're getting some of the information that they're getting about you. You don't understand who sent them. Who sent them into your life? Remember, we've been talking about the Adjustment Bureau. There's a whole behind the scenes idea. There's a whole behind the scenes world where people are actually finding you, connecting you to somebody that's going to be a source for you, but are they going to be the right one for you? And you can say yes to the wrong one. You'll find out who that is within a few weeks of the time that you have set the I do's. Because within the few weeks of that time, you wish you could just take off and run, but then you feel so guilty because you said yes, you just decided to stay. All right. So it's important. You have to know who you are. This is why it's important. You got to know who you are. You got to know what you are in agreement with, what you would say no to, what you would say no to. Nobody's gonna be perfect in the psychological sense. No one will be perfect, but you do want them to be mature in who they are, what their decisions are, especially in your age brackets. You got to look at your age brackets. Somebody that's in their 50s should already have their stuff. They should already have their stuff ready. If they're already in their 50s, they should already know what they want in life. And people in their 50s, it don't take them long to say I want to marry you. It doesn't take them long at all. Now, when you have people that are like in their ages of 18 to 26, they're still thinking and still contemplating. They're barely finding out who they are. And I highly don't recommend that anybody marries at that age group unless this is somebody that, you know, they just know that God said this is it. And then, a lot of times they stay together forever. They stay married all the way to the end. All right. But I would say that when people are in their 40s and up, you ought to know by now. You know what you want. You know what it is you need. You know what it is in life. And then are you taking care of yourself? There's a lot of things you want to think about. I had somebody say something. They said, how come, that's the question, how come when the men get older, they get, what did they say? When they get older, they seem to be a bit better. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? Because again, the person who was actually saying this was a person who had been, she was a widow, but she ended up with somebody that was a dirty dog. And then she wanted to know, why is it that he's better now than, what he was in life prior? And you know what? One thing that I said, well, maybe because things ain't working no more. Maybe because they're not as quick as they used to be. Maybe they got physical ailments. Maybe they have certain things going on in their own life. Maybe there's things that's happening with them when they know that they need somebody. Because I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of the times, again, if you grew up in a pimp mentality, and I'm gonna say that because I've been around. That's kind of been my kind of been around. All right, if you've been around that kind of mentality, they see you as a, what are you saying here? Don't be 50 and up and don't know. That's right. That's right. Don't be 50 and up and don't know what you want. You got to know. If you go up with that mentality, a lot of times because they have not had like corporate jobs or a job that had retirements, they were hustlers. Okay, they were hustlers. They were doing other things, and they don't have, a lot of times they don't even have Social Security. If you were to have them like try to file for their Social Security, because everybody can see how much you have in Social Security right now, right? If you are a working person, you say, how much do I have in Social Security right now? Because maybe by the age of 72 or by the age of 70 or 65, I want to start withdrawing from my Social Security. A lot of times these folks don't even have nothing in their Social Security because they've been hustling for so long. It says zero. You hear me? Zero. They don't have medical. And so a lot of times, because their life has been the hustler mentality, they didn't attach themselves to anything. And so now they see you who have taken care of yourself, you who have your own place, you who have your own insurance, your own policies, your own everything. They have you and your stuff. Well, they get to come in with you because you've been busy handling business. No woman is going to sit there. Well, I can't say no because we're in a different kind of day. So Lord forgive me because I can't just put everybody in one basket. Okay, because you got people who don't handle business. Said my father told me, just know a man knows when he truly wants to marry a woman, and it doesn't take long. That's right. When they know, they know. When they know, they know. Most of the time, the men know who it is, but they prepare themselves. Okay, they prepare themselves. They're already prepared, and they're waiting for the wife to come to say yes. They want her to say yes, but they're already preparing themselves. But they already know what they want, and they don't take themselves long. They don't take long to do it, but they already know what they want. And so when you have, like I said, when you have females who've been getting themselves together, taking care of themselves, having their own place, having their own cars, having everything that they need, and then you had the hustler coming in while you had everything going on. They don't have anything. Okay, so listen, and I'm not mocking some who don't have anything. Okay, I'm not mocking you at all. That's a life that you chose, and I'm sure you got a lot of material things to what you've had, perhaps. Okay, but what I'm saying is, the question was when that person had made that comment, why does it appear that they seem to be better when they're older? And I said, well, maybe because things are breaking down. Now, mind you, statements I've had, because I've talked to a lot of men, lots of men. This is just something that I do. And to hear, because I have a lot of cousins. I have a lot of cousins, had a lot of uncles, and they have friends, they have friends, they have friends, they have friends. Plus, I work at law enforcement. So working in law enforcement for 34 years, you get to see police and you get to talk to police. I mean, you get to go into deep conversations because they come and tell everything. Okay. So this is just very interesting because you have you begin to build business relationships with the officers and so forth. And I mean, when you work in the police department, it's like soap operas. You get to hear everything. Okay. And I mean everything. So you build a lot of relationships. You listen to a lot of people. And when God gives you wisdom, you hear what's happening with certain people, certain relationships. And I mean, it just is what it is. So some men, they want to make sure that a woman has what they have, and they don't want them to have no less. They want them to have exactly what they have, and they don't want them to have no less. They don't want you to have nothing. They don't want you to come in with nothing. Some men, like I said, going back to that first conversation, the man that she was referring to, mind you, that lady was referring to, he was trained as a young boy to find an older woman that always had a place, always had something going on for her, because you will always have a place to lay your head. So this is how they become rolling stones. They always have places to lay their head. So if this one shut the door, you go to the next one. And so this one with that question, well, sometimes because again, if they don't have the insurance, they don't have things set up, they know that that person does. They know that that person established themselves. So they know that they have to be, they have to be acting a certain way so they can get into this person's life. Because if they're starting to turn sickly, they're going to need some health insurance. Does that make sense? Because they've been like hustlers, or they just haven't had a position on a job where they had medical insurance offered. Now we know everybody has to have medical insurance nowadays. You just have to have it, or you pay the penalty when you file your taxes. But this is how things are. Some people only choose you for certain reasons. And this is why everything has to be God's desire. And you want to protect yourself by going to God. Lord, help me. Lord, help me to know. Lord, lead me. Lord, help me. Lord, lead me. Lord, help me do what I need to do. God bless you. Help me to do what I need to do. Help me to find and help me to get focused here, because, Lord, I don't want to be led astray. And I don't want somebody else coming into my life that's going to ruin my life. Because marriage is a very serious decision. Marriage is serious. Number one, God is serious about marriage. God is very serious about marriage. And it is God's idea, and he's the one who designed marriage between the man and the female. He did that. The male and the female. He did that. God did that. So marriage is a very serious decision. And a lot of the times, we may not think about these things before the I do's. You don't even think. You just move in emotions. What are you saying, Melanie? Let me see. Glad to see you on here. Melanie, what are you saying? Yes, yep. And so it's, you have to really make some serious decisions about things, because these things will make you or they will break you. They will make you better or they can make you worse. All right. And so this is why it's important. You have to become a thinker. What is it that I need, and not be rolled into your emotions? So these distant marriages and things that people are doing nowadays, meeting people way for other countries, meeting people way from over yonder. They don't even have, some people, if you meeting people from foreign nations who do not even have laws like we have here, laws. Now, one of my cousins, actually my nephew, was telling about this man that he had met recently. He met this man, and he was from Africa. And this man told him that people in this country over here, they let too many things happen over in this country. He said over there in their country, when they have somebody coming in that don't know who their gender is, they could kill them right on the road. They said, because that's not what we allow over in our country. I remember, so again, they're from a whole nother country. Over here, you're going to be put in jail for things of that nature. All right. But over there, they don't have to. This is not right. And they kill you on the road. You don't even know the laws in other countries. And so when you having these distant marriages, you're trying to find people from these other countries. You need to inspect their laws. See what kind of, how do they treat their women? How do the men, how are the men treated? What is their culture? You understand? It's not going to be like our United States is the most freest country. All right. The freest welcoming country ever, with a lot of rules. We have a lot of rules, a lot of laws. Okay. We have police forces. We have different things of that nature. And so when you go to the other countries, you don't even know how they're thinking about you. So you're having these distant marriages. You don't even know what their laws are. You don't even know what their belief. You don't even, what if they're Muslim? What are their laws concerning their religion and what they think about you? You have to even think, you remember when Janet Jackson had her husband, and how she was used to being out here in the United States. She dressed however she wanted to dress. She performed the way she wanted to perform. But when she went out to that foreign country, boy, she had all her whole body was covered, all the way from top to bottom. That man didn't want nobody looking at her. He didn't want her being seen a certain way, calling her a whore, all kinds of stuff. He attacked that girl out there in, I think she was in Arabia, wherever she was. She dealt with somebody with a whole different culture. And that's the father of her child today. That same man. So yes, if she stayed with him for so long, she had so much money to gain. But look at what happened. She was tormented and tortured when she came back. So sometimes you're going dating these people and you do not know their culture. But she was, talk about her daddy in control, and she don't want to be in control. She got her own life. She want to make her own decisions. She had that song when she came from under her daddy's care, right? Well, now she ends up with this man, okay, from a whole nother country, like I said, have whole different rules. You don't even know how they operate. You don't even know. What if they get to beat their wives? Literally, and nobody gets to do anything about it. I remember years ago, it might have been in the 80s. This woman was in the Long Beach Mall, and her husband had come from one of those countries. And I remember, because they shut down the mall, that man found his wife and he sliced her head off. He decapitated her right in the food court of the Long Beach Mall. We would go there. I would go there walking, for lunch and so forth. Slice her head off. She's from a foreign country. They're from a foreign country. But he came here looking for his wife. And once he found her, he done away with her. So a lot of times you having these distant marriages, you having distant things, and you don't know what the families want. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what they require. For her to leave him was death. And he gave her that sentence and condemned her. And he took care of it. He became judge, jury. He done everything. And that's what happened. That was right there in Long Beach Mall. So you don't know what people are coming. So distant, you better study their culture. You better study where they come from. You better study, who are you? What do you all believe? How do you treat one another? Are you in polygamy? Because is this just one marriage that we have, or you get to have multiple? You understand what I'm saying? So these distant marriages, you get yourself all caught up because here you are in the land of the free. I mean, mind you, here, when people come over here to California and say they're from places like, and I want to say Wisconsin, and I'm going to say Wisconsin because Juanita Bynum was one who spoke about California. And she says she would never come to California because California, they do whatever they want to do. They don't listen to nobody. That's one of the things that she has said, right? When her preaching days and high days and so forth, not that she's in a low place now, but she understood the difference because out here, everybody has whatever they want out here in California. Our weather is good weather. So you're coming from Milwaukee, wherever you come from, Milwaukee, wherever that is, she comes over here and you don't get to treat people like you treat people over there. You get to talking to people over here in California a certain kind of way, and we don't. Who are you? You understand? California is a free place. We don't have to listen to you. Who are you? You understand? So California is a whole different kind of ball game. California's a whole different kind of place. So when somebody like that can come over here and they're like, oh my God, they don't listen. We don't have to. Who are you? You understand? This is free. We got Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm. Who are you? We don't have to listen to you. Just because you come here preaching hard, that's why I put up there. You want somebody like to tell you off? We come from a different kind of we come from a different kind of place over here. You don't get to come tell us off and just get to come and talk to us crazy like we supposed to stand there and we don't get to say anything. The clap back is notorious in Cali. Okay. The clap back is notorious in Cali. Yeah. You see, so we're a whole different kind of people out here. You understand? And a lot of people don't understand it. You know why? Because you can't be controlling people over here. You coming from them other places and be like, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. You still come from a whole different kind. We'll respect you over here, but you got to earn it. You understand me? We don't even know who you are. We'll respect you, but you got to earn it. And we'll look at you and check you out, but we ain't worshiping you. So you go over there in Milwaukee and everybody else starts seeing you coming up with all this money and all this fame and all this, but you come over here, we like, who are you? You understand what I'm saying? So there's a difference. And I'm saying all of that to say there is a difference. So if you have distant people coming from different places, people can treat you different kinds of ways. Now, some of you might find somebody in Alabama, okay? And so maybe the Alabama men or Mississippi men, they'll take care of them women real good. I remember this one preacher. I don't even remember his name. He was a bishop. He had his wife, and boy, if I could find that video. But he had his wife, and he was telling her to do something, and he was so sharp with her in the congregation. And he could pick up that we were like, what did he just? No, he didn't, right? He could pick that up. And then he said, y'all don't understand. He said, you guys don't understand. He said, if I tell my wife, are you from the my whole family from sorry. Okay, Yellow Beauty. So do you kind of see that? If you're from here, there's a big difference here in California. It's a big difference. If you're still in Milwaukee area, and you're coming to California, it's a whole different ball game over here in California. Different. So this preacher came to the church, bishop. He was a bishop, And I remember he talked to his wife. He said something real sharp over the pulpit, and we was like, like, no, he didn't say that. He said, "Y'all don't understand. I treat my wife so well." He said, "If I tell her to go and make me a whole chicken meal, she gonna go outside, wring the chicken's neck, cut the chicken. She gonna make sure she does everything for me because I take care of her well." And he's like, "You guys need to understand. Take care of your women." Because we were like, "No, you didn't. Just did you what?" we we didn't understand that. We didn't. You talking to her crazy over the pulpit, and we would just look like, no, you didn't. But he was from the country. All right, they still got farmland, and apparently, if he got her going outside getting the chicken, wringing the chicken's neck, and she making fresh fried chicken for him, okay. And he says she'll do that whatever time of the day he tells her to. If he come in hungry, she gonna get up in that middle of the night and go and cook that chicken. We was like, ooh, wrong words, wrong words, wrong words. You don't know. So if you're dealing with somebody from Alabama, look, you're from California. You wasn't even raised up on a farm. You don't even know the difficulties of being in hard place. You have hard places. You have hard, rough times in your life, but you never was raised on the farm. You didn't have to get up at 3 and 4 in the morning to go and milk them cows. You understand? So you have these distant marriages. You getting involved with people. Not only that, there could be a second or third generation from that type. Okay. Now, mind you, we are to be submissive. Everybody said the women and the husband and wife, they're to be submissive one to another. And you are supposed to honor your husband. You are. You have to honor them. You have to submit to their authority when you are married. You have to submit to their authority. They're the heads of that house. Last week I was talking about they're the first ones in trouble. And if you watch some of the things I put out today, your prayers can be hindered just because of that. All right. Some places want to make sure you got 5 and 10 children, one baby after the next. You got to think about that. I don't want to have 5 and 10 children. My body can't even take it. You understand? So you just don't know what you're getting. But when they're coming from the other states and they're coming from other places, or they're second and third generation from that, you have to understand what you are dealing with. Because here we are, distant marriages. You don't know what you're getting involved in, and you want to know what this is about. So some people, like I said, coming from other places, you have to know what they're about. And you can make the biggest mistake living with somebody that come from a whole nother town, a whole nother place. We can even think about interracial marriages. Okay, there's so many things, not just distant, but interracial marriages where they don't understand your culture and you don't understand their culture, but then the cultures collide. Okay, so somebody could be maybe Hispanic, and then because it's a lot. Well, just depends on what grade of Hispanic you are. But when you have a lot of Hispanics, they still go to Mexico and they still take all their people, they take their money, their funds, and so forth over there, and everybody speaks Spanish. Everybody speaks Spanish, and they play nothing but the Hispanic music. They're still getting close to their culture. They're still staying to their culture. And a lot of times their culture is Catholic. When their culture is Catholic, your children is going to be raised up in that. You understand? So when you don't understand what you're getting involved in, you have to know what you need for your life, because the question is, how are you going to raise the children? How are things going to be happening in your family? Is their mother going to be able to come in your house and take over your house? There's a lot of things to think about. Are you going to be able to respect their house? Are you going to be able to respect how do they treat the children? So God sent my husband of the same culture as myself. Please and thank you. See, you understand? You got to think about all these things. How are you going to be able to do it? And some things are possible. A lot of things are possible, but you have to consider these things. Okay, so distant relationships, whether you're going to somebody else outside of your culture, outside of the continent, right, to a continent, because we're in the United States of America, a nation, a country, but you have other people in continents. or they have a different way of living. So just even little things like that. How would you relate? You have to think about those kind of things, not to be closed-minded. And it's good to travel. It's really good to travel and go places and see what things are like. But at the same time, when you travel and you study abroad, see the good, the bad, and the ugly, and see if you can live with that. All right? Good, bad, and ugly. And can you live with that? What does that look like to you? How does that work? Some people who have married persons that were like from Jamaica, or even the parents of that child or that son or daughter that came from Nigeria, they still want a Nigerian spouse. They don't want an American spouse. They want a Nigerian spouse. So even if they got married to somebody in America, they still got somebody waiting over there for them to still marry within their own. You understand? We have to understand these things. We're in America. And if this is the only place that you know is America, if this is the only place that you know, California, this is the only place, you really got some learning to do. You got some learning to do, and you're going to be praying about many things. And so even you think about, you got the children of Israel, they had to stay within their own. They didn't want them going to the Hittites, the Hivites, the Jebusites. You understand? Because that's a whole different culture, whole different nation, whole different other gods. They're worshiping other gods. And you have to think about these things. How do they worship their gods? Who are their gods? How can you become one when you have different gods? They have their own God. You have your own God. You have the way you worship God. They have the way they worship God. How can you come together except there be an agreement? It cannot just be the flesh in agreement. Life is deeper than that because life is spiritual. You understand? And so tonight was distant marriages. This is marriage number 19. Distant marriages, a marriage that must not hold. It must not hold. You got to know the cultures. These dating apps, that's not good. It's better to have a reference. It's better to Lord, lead me. Become friends. Learn. Pray. Discernment. Ask God for discernment every day. Let it be known. Not to be in fear, but to be in faith, because God is going to do it. But let it be known, Father God, your will be done in my life. Okay? So again, I like to look, even like I said, at Janet Jackson and her experience. And she came back very traumatized with that husband that she was with. She has a little beautiful baby boy, but she had a very traumatic marriage. All right. She was already in controlling parts with her father, right? Very controlling there. They loved their dad, but they knew how he had a heavy hand upon every last one of them because he was protecting their future and protecting his family. And he wanted to make sure his family was in control. And see, that's another way. You got to know what that dad is like, and how much of a force he is within your family. All right. And so this is tonight, and I'm not going to be here long. I think it's almost an hour that I've been on here. But this is 40 marriages that must not hold. Got a lot of thinking to do. So this is why when you are getting ready to do something, please think, please pray. Don't just make rash decisions based upon your own emergencies or your timelines or your age factors. Don't make decisions based upon that. Live life. Know how to be submissive. Know how to do what it is you love to do. And then you're going to open your heart to somebody that you have to think about, not just because your flesh is crying out, not because your time is running out, quote unquote time. It's better to marry out of your own thinking time than to marry in a time that'll ruin the rest of your life. All right. So I pray that each and every one of you find somebody that God has appointed for you that's going to bring peace, help to bring peace into your life, that's going to be one with you, that is going to be somebody that you can enjoy life with. Two are better than one. Somebody that you can enjoy life with, okay? That you can enjoy. If you're a preacher, I don't know if you want a preacher. You got to think about all that. If you're a preacher, do you specifically want to have a preacher? There's a lot of things you got to think about. They don't have to be doing anything in there. Sometimes there may not be somebody in the church, because sometimes people look at, I want somebody that's a deacon or elder. Why do you have to do that? You just want somebody who loves God. Somebody who loves God, and somebody who can pray, and somebody who can protect you, right? Okay, Dot, I see you. You just want somebody that want to protect you, somebody who loves God. They don't have to be in, they don't have to do all that. You have to think about that. Are they just good with business? Sometimes they just be good with business. And everything is smooth. They see you doing what you do, and they good with what they do, and you guys work very well together. But they don't have to be a preacher. They don't have to be the musician. They don't have to be, they can just be somebody that just want to come to church and leave. Go to church, take you on vacations, trips, whatever you need to do, and you come on back. They don't have to be in there every Sunday. I mean, you know that. Or you feel like you got to be in church every time the doors are open. Some people can't even take vacations because they've been trained that way. Do you understand? And then when you go missing, then your pastor calls you. Where were you? It's a lot to think about. Think about it, because it's not strange if you're not in service every week. You got to think about that. Sometimes when somebody is found within the church building and the pastor approves of them, it's because they see that that person's been faithful to the building too. But the minute they start going on vacation is the minute they start saying something to you about the marriage. And that could have been the most abusive person ever. But they only started caring when you stopped coming to church, when you guys started going on vacation. You have to think about things. What about you? What about you? What is it? You understand? So we are in a different day. A different day, a different time. And that what I'm saying is different because the word of God doesn't change. But I'm saying we're in a time where you need to think. Think. So like I said, even Yellow Beauty about Wisconsin, Milwaukee, that was something. I was in one of the places where Dr. Juanita Bynum was, and that's what she was talking about. She said it's too much Hollywood over there in California. Them women don't listen. She started saying those things because she got to see that California is a whole different kind of place. Okay, so some things don't work well like it works over there for you, in those countries, in those states. We have a whole different kind of mindset. That's why when you see people who have ever been here from Milwaukee, Yellow Beauty, if you know anybody that's ever been here in California, especially over here on the West Coast, they go to McDonald's. I mean, not McDonald's. They go to Magic Mountain. They go to Disneyland. It's so much to do. And that's one of the problems. A lot of times they say because over there it's not that much to do because there's a lot of snow, a lot of other things that happen. But out here is so many entertaining things to do. And they said people don't have their mind on Jesus, but they do. They just don't have to be there all the time. You understand? But they equate that as your mind ain't on Jesus because you ain't in the service every day. So if you know somebody that moved here from Milwaukee, I would say talk to them because it's a big difference. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. But anyway, so think about it. Distant marriages. These are marriages that must not hold. You don't even know each other. You won't be able to know each other. Too far away. The culture's too far. But you need to be able to study what it is. Like I said, that lady at the Long Beach Mall, I'll never forget it. It was in the 1980s. Her husband came and he had a sword. I mean, he had a little sword. She was decapitated in the mall in the food court area. Okay, what you saying, Yellow Bitty? Someone from there when I was younger, and she was very different. He was very. Okay, when I was younger, and he was very different. Yeah, very very different out here. Very different. But we still bless God. We still, have a lot of love, but it's different. Everything is different. You know, I want to say that's a song even Lamar. What is he singing? They're not like us, but that's a whole song with a whole lot of cussing and everything in it. But what he's saying is, out of all that, that's a whole different breed of fake, whole different breed of people that's not like, they're not like these people over here. You guys are totally different. And what they do and what the people over here do, totally different. Okay. So, and there's a song he's clowning them, but he's right there in Compton. And they're using Homie the Clown. Don't mess around. Tommy the Clown. Actually, it's Tommy the Clown. But there's a whole different, you got to know it. It's a difference. And some people have a different persona. You don't even know what they're connected to. All right. So when you don't know, you don't know. But that's why we have God, so you can pray and you have people in prayer with you. Because listen, if marriage is what you want, I pray that God give you the perfect mate that is perfect for you. And it's God's perfect will for your life. Okay? His perfect will for your life. And God can do it. God can and he will. So anyway, this is what we have for tonight. Thank you for joining me. It is 10 o'clock, and I will see you next week, all right? God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining. I'm Apostle Hellena Horsley. This is Thursday Night Live at 9, and I'll see you on next week, all right? Good night, Facebook and YouTube.